Hi, mister. How are you? My name is Daniel Flores. I'm going to present you my lesson plan number 5. The topic is passive voice, present simple and past simple. My objective from this lesson plan were the following. From listening is distinguish between active and passive voice in sentences. They've got to recognize the difference between passive and active voice in sentences while they are listening. The speaking objective is that they will be able to discuss using active and passive voice. They will be able to do it. Reading. My reading objective is that students understand why active and passive voice is appropriate to use in certain context. They understand why, the reason. And in the writing part, they create sentences in the active and passive voice. These are the main objectives for me in this lesson plan. Now, my methodology and my strategies are the following. First, the methodology that I used in this lesson plan are two. The high-tech to approach learning. That means that teachers use many different type of technology to aid students in their classroom learning. Remember that nowadays all of the teachers have got to use this methodology because we use a lot the technology a lot. Like me, for example, right now I'm using my cell phone to record this video. The next methodology is a student-centered approach to learning. That means that students assume a much more active role in the learning process, because I always encourage my students to keep in mind this, because they've got to assume that role, not passive roles. Instead of passive, they've got to be more active in the learning during the learning process. My strategies are computer games, because I love playing games with my students, because this is the way that they learn. They learn. I always keep in mind, learn by doing. This is the way, like practice makes perfect. And educational computer games can be purchased for students to use to receive or explore the concepts. This is the way. And in the last part is the strategies. And the other strategy that I also use, is the think per share. You will wonder, what is a think per share? It means that students think individually, then pair together to discuss or answer a question, and then share ideas with class. Okay, think per share. It is one way to encourage students to practice between them, and it It's possible. It's possible to do it. It's possible to do it in virtual classes because there are a lot of tools that Zoom gives to us. The next part of my lesson plan is the anticipatory set. I will write a sentence on the board. On the board, remember, the board is the whiteboard of Zoom. I will write, we write emails. We write emails. And then, me as a teacher, on purpose, convert. I on purpose convert the sentence in a wrong way. If the students realize. And teacher says, this is, the teacher, me, says, this is passive form of the sentence. Some students most probably will correct me, and some of them maybe not. But I've got to let students to try to realize if there is a mistake. This is just anticipatory set. So after this part, I will introduce the topic as it is. This is just for catching their attention. Okay? Now, in the main teaching input, I will play the video. I love using videos while I'm teaching because some of the students, they are more visual. They understand more what they see instead of what they are listening. So that's why I use a lot presenting videos. After playing the video that contains the passive voice in present and past simple, I explain the way that they are formed. I explain and I write three active sentence in the simple past tense. For example, Layla washed. Another sentence in present tense, simple present tense, like Ali calls the police. And another in past, maybe Egyptians built the pyramids. Okay. After doing this, then the students will be asked by me to look carefully and figure out how to convert them, the simple past and the simple present, into passive voice. They've got to figure out. But if they cannot do it, I will write the answers. Remember, it is important that they don't feel stressed. It is important. Just this is for helping them to think about the topic. But if they need my guide more, it's my job to help them as a teacher. In the next part, I write the rules. I write the rules on the whiteboard of Zoom. The subject plus was where plus the verb in past participle followed by the object. If they are forming the past simple passive, or if they are forming the simple present passive, they've got to write. I write on the whiteboard the subject followed by am, is, are, the verb to be, followed by the verb in past participle and the object. And remember that after doing this, I will write five more simple present and simple past sentences in order to help them to practice. Okay? In the modeling part, I will ask students what they notice. What did they notice? Okay? About this part. Okay? About the passive voice. Okay? In the guided practice, they got to do an exercise online. But first, I will send them a link that they will be able to do it. Okay? But in this part, just I will present the worksheet. Okay? And after doing that, they've got to answer. All of the exercises with my guide. This is the only way. In complex topics, they really need teacher's guide. Now, in the next part, after doing this exercise with my help, it's time for them to apply the knowledge, because I will tell students to enter to a game, quizzes game. This platform, I really love it because it's a funny way to learn. That's why I use quizzes, and I will send the link from quizzes in order to measure what they are learning. And because of this, they will feel happier, because the best student will win the game, and of course they will get an extra point. Okay? That's why they've got to receive the link by direct message of Zoom. Okay? All of these materials, I present them in my screen, or I send them by direct message. In the last part, the assessment part, through questioning, I can check if students understand, because I got to check that, because which would be important in the upcoming stages. Okay? If not, some adjustments of reteaching may be necessary, because it is important. In the practice and production stage, by observing students' answer, teacher can assess if the students can use the form accurately. Okay? In this part, I will ask them. I will make them questions, so they freely answer. They answer freely what they have understood. So, after receiving their answers, I realize if I've got to change or not something at the end of the lesson. And in the last part of the closing review and follow-up, I distribute a handout which include 3 kinds of exercise on passive voice, and in the simple present and past tense, 4 sentences to be converted into the passive voice, and 4 sentences to be corrected. So 4 verbs to be conjugated and used in passive voice. I monitor the students. Because I have to see if they need help. I invite students to write their answer on the whiteboard. All of this I will present on my whiteboard of Zoom. This is my lesson plan number 5. I hoped that you liked it. I hope that have a nice rest of the day, and thanks for paying attention. Take care.